Hello, my lovelies. Welcome to aWritersCorner. My name is Lysa, and I'm here to help you make your writing dreams come true. In today's video, we are going to be starting a writing lesson. It's going to be a 4-part lesson or a 4-week lesson to help you get ready for a NaNoWriMo. To give you some background, NaNoWriMo, also known as National Novel Writing Month, is coming up. It started in 1999 as a way of getting writers to compose a novel of 50,000 words in 30 days. And this can be quite a challenge, but this challenge is to help you stop dreaming and start writing. On November 1st, hundreds of thousands of people around the world begin to write, determined to end the month with a first draft. They enter as elementary school teachers, mechanics, or stay-at-homes, and they leave as novelists. And you may be one of these people. I admit I was, but you don't have to be one of them in order to take advantage of NaNoWriMo. You just have to have a writing dream that you want to tackle. And honestly, it doesn't have to be a novel. It can be a movie script, a memoir, a school project, you name it. This month, the month of October, is known as Preparation Month or Preptober. And I'm going to help you prepare for your writing project. Now, I won't be able to give you all the necessary tools and resources to help you get started, but I will give you as much information as possible to help you make your writing dream come true. Here is our structure for Preptober.
Week 1 is ideas and plotting. Week 2 is characters. Week 3, setting. And week 4, research.
During week 1, ideas and plotting, we are going to generate a list of story ideas. And you're probably going, why? Well, that's because no story starts with no idea. Every great story starts with a great idea. During week 2, we are going to focus on characters and character development. To do this, we are going to use a character profile chart. This is so you can understand your characters more and make them more relatable and real. During week 3, we are going to delve into setting. It's important to focus on setting because you want your readers to know what time of day it is, the time period, the place and surroundings, and the overall environment. This is because setting affects your characters. And week 4, we are going to be looking at research. You'll learn to take notes and store them in an easy access spot so that you can always refer back to your notes. And if you're going, but Lysa, my story is totally fictional. Why would I need to do some research? This is to make the world in your story believable. Say your characters live in a spaceship billions of light years away. You'll need to conduct research on, say, spaceships, the possibility of living in space, and what is needed in order for your characters to survive out there, i.e., how are they getting oxygen and what's their fuel source.
Before we start today's lesson, I want to let you know that these lessons are broken down into 3 parts. The first part is the introduction and lesson. The second part is looking at examples. And the third part, not a part of the video, is for you to take what we have learned and apply it yourself.
Enough talking, let's get started. Hello, my lovelies. Welcome to week 1 of Preptober. This week, we are going to focus on ideas and plotting. Before you can start writing anything, you must first have an idea of what you want to write about. An idea, according to Merriam-Webster, is a formulated thought or opinion. It's your thought of a story that you want to write about. Start by making a list of ideas that you want to write about. Here are 4 story ideas that I have for you, and feel free to use them. I also have a list of more ideas, and feel free to go onto my blog to obtain them if you'd like more ideas. Idea 1. The main character wants to plan a vacation with their partner, but things don't go to plan. Idea 2. The main character has moved out of town and feels out of place, and they keep running into a stranger or a neighbor who is not happy to help them. Idea 3. The main character has just lost their high corporate job of many years. They decide to start their own business instead. And idea 4. The main character goes to the seaside and comes upon a bottle with a letter inside. Again, feel free to use some of these ideas that I've just listed, or go onto my blog if you need more story ideas. And this could be because you want to know what happens to the characters and their situations. Feel free to pause this video as you generate your list of ideas. After you have chosen your 1 story idea, you're going to need to plot it. Personally, I'm not fond of plotting because my writing a story changes the more I get into it, but this is a nice starting point. And you're probably questioning, why is it important to plot? Plotting is the act of putting together the sequence of events that occur in your story. The plot drives the story and keeps the readers engaged, wanting to see how the story develops and ends. And an outline is a tool to organize your thoughts and ideas in chronological or logical order. If you have no plot or no outline, you have no story. Certain events must happen in order for your story to be considered a story. Think of it as needing a beginning, a middle, and an end, with more important information stuffed in between. Let's look at what this looks like using a plot diagram, a list of events, and a beat sheet. A plot diagram has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And within each of these, you have two other subcategories. In the beginning, you have your exposition and your conflict. The exposition is the introduction to your story. This includes the characters and the setting, as well as the mood and tone of the story. For example, we have a boy with glasses with a lightning scar on his forehead. Boy lives with his uncle, aunt, and cousin. It starts off as a nice day in England, but odd things begin to happen. The overall mood is so-so, but turns peculiar and magical. The conflict is the problem that drives the story. It's an introduction to the main character's flaws that they need to change. For example, the boy receives a letter in the mail accepting him to a wizarding school. In the middle, you have the rising action and the climax. The rising action is all the events that lead to the climax. For example, we have boy goes to wizarding school, makes friends, attends classes, and joins a sport team. Learns about a magical stone. Learns that an evil wizard wants the stone and the boy dead. The climax is the turning point of the story. The main character faces their problem and starts to make a change. For example, boy chooses to take on the evil wizard to protect himself and the wizarding world he now loves. And he defeats the evil wizard. For now. In the end, we have the falling action and the resolution. The falling action are the events that occur due to the climax. The main character has finally developed into the person they need to be, and we see that. For example, everyone is safe and joyful, the school year ends, and the boys' teammates win the house cup. For the resolution, this is the ending. It's the solution to the overall problem, and questions get answered. Our quick resolution here is that boy and his friends get ready to return home, and boy is actually looking forward to summer and the next school year. The best analogy for this is blowing a balloon. Your first breath into the balloon is the conflict, and every breath you take afterwards, including the size that the balloon starts growing into, is the rising action. The balloon popping is the climax. How you feel afterwards is the falling action, i.e. scared, surprised, and choosing not to blow any more balloons and move on to another activity is the resolution. If you're not fond of the typical plot diagram, try making a list of events. Some authors actually use this method to outline their stories. Be sure to include the main conflict, the series of events that follow, the climax, and everything else that follows after that, down to the resolution and ending. Let's look at some examples. Our first example is Bunnicula by Deborah and James Howell. The first event is that the family comes home with an abandoned rabbit. The second event, they named the rabbit Bunnicula because they found the rabbit at the movie theater while they were watching a Dracula film. The third event, the fruits and vegetables in the house begin to turn white and dry. The fourth event, the family cat gets suspicious, and so forth. Our second example is a series of unfortunate events, The Bad Beginning by Lemony Snicket. The first event is that the three siblings go to the beach side. The second event, they learn that their parents have perished in a house fire. The third event, they move in with a self-absorbed, negligent relative named Count Olaf, and so forth. Our third example is Seeking Persephone by Sarah M. Eden. The first event, a duke must marry or lose his property to a distant relative. During the second event, a pretty but not rich girl has been given a marriage proposal by the duke in writing. The third event, They marry because the Duke doesn't want to lose his property and the girl wants her father and siblings to be taken care of financially, and so on. Now let's look at plotting and outlining using a beat sheet. A beat sheet contains roughly 15 beats or events that must occur in a story. And this method of plotting is actually a lot more detailed and in-depth than the first two. Think of it as adding spice to your writing in comparison to bland writing. Let's look at an example. This example is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone by J.K. Rowling. Our first beat is the opening image. This is the hook of the story to get the audience's attention. Using the example of our book, we are introduced to the wizarding world and how it exists around us, muggles. We meet Vernon Dursley, who is getting ready for work, and he runs into a cat and strangely dressed people. The next beat is the setup. This is the main character's status quo or normal world. This includes their wants, their needs, and their struggles. We meet Harry Potter, the boy who lived. He currently lives in terrible conditions with family who don't treat him as such. Odd things begin to happen, such as a snake becoming loose at the zoo, there's owls and letters, and so forth. The next beat is the theme stated. This is the overall lesson that the character must learn. This is their need. And it's often told to them by someone they'd rather not listen to. The theme in here is not necessarily stated, but I personally feel that the overall theme is cultivating your own family through friendships. The next beat is the catalyst. This is where the story begins to pick up and take off. The first conflict begins here due to the main character's wants, needs, and struggles. We see that Harry gets an acceptance letter to the Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. The next beat is the debate. The main character questions whether or not they should change due to the catalyst. In other words, will Harry attend Hogwarts, and how will he get there? The next beat is the break into two. We are no longer in the status quo world, and the main character has made the leap towards change. Using the example of the book, Harry goes to Hogwarts. He gets his school material with Hagrid's help. Uncle Vernon grumpily drops him off at King's Cross Station. The next beat is B's story. This is the introduction to the new world and the secondary character, such as a love interest or a sidekick. And their role is to showcase the opposite of the main character and support in the change and the journey that the main character must go through. In this case, Harry meets Ron and Hermione on the Hogwarts Express. Our next beat is the fun and games. This is where the main character interacts with their new world. In our example, we see that life at Hogwarts is great for Harry. He has friends, classes, even Quidditch. Our next beat is the midpoint. This is a false victory. This is where the main character thinks that they have everything that they've ever wanted now. According to our book, Harry and Ron defeat a troll on Halloween night and earn points for Gryffindor. Our next beat is bad guys close in. This is where the main character's ego falls as they learn that their wants are only temporary. Harry almost gets hurt during Quidditch. Harry, Ron, and Hermione learn about the Sorcerer's Stone and how Snape wants it for himself. Our next beat is the all is lost. If the main character thought that they gained something at the midpoint, this is where they lose it all. In this case, Harry learns that Voldemort wants to come back into power and is trying to get the Sorcerer's Stone with the help of Snape. Harry, Ron, and Hermione realize that Hagrid was given the dragon egg on purpose, and the stranger is more than likely interested in the Sorcerer's Stone. And Dumbledore is suddenly not around to protect Harry and the stone. The next beat is the dark night of the soul. The main character hits rock bottom and mourns their loss, such as a love interest or a dream or a goal. They also learn their lesson here. Now, J.K. Rowling doesn't necessarily write in the order of these beats, but she does include them in her story. Our dark night of the soul for Harry is when he comes upon the mirror of Erised. He realizes that it's not good to dwell or mope on things that he cannot obtain or desire, his parents. It's better to live than to dream. The next beat is the break into three. The main character gets back up and tries again. Having learned their lesson, they now think about others instead of just themselves. Harry, Ron, and Hermione decide to stop Snape on their own, to stop Voldemort from returning and keep everyone, including themselves, safe. Our next beat is the finale. This is the incorporation of the status quo world and the B story, and things start looking up again. In this case, Harry learns that it's actually not Snape, but Quirrell trying to steal the stone for Voldemort. He defeats Quirrell with love and learns that his parents may not be with him anymore, but they're still protecting him because they'll always be with him, metaphorically. And our last beat is the final image. This is the opposite of the opening image. There's a visual change that the main character has undergone. There's also a mood or a tone and lesson that you as the writer want to leave the reader with. Harry and his friends are well and safe, having defeated Voldemort, and they get ready to go back home for the summer. And Harry's not scared anymore of going back home to his aunt and uncle. As a matter of fact, he's looking forward to it. Now that you have your story idea and 3 ways in which you can plot and outline, I want you to spend the rest of the week working on it. This is a lot of information, I know. And that's why, in order to make NaNoWriMo easier for you, or any time of the year that you want to start a writing project, I've put together a novel writing kit just for you. It includes the information we just went over, as well as the next 3: characters, setting, and research. Just click on the link below and you're ready to go with your NaNoWriMo preparation or your preparation for any writing project throughout the year. Thank you so much for joining me during week 1 of Preptober as you get ready for NaNoWriMo and start writing your novel. Be sure to come back during week 2 as we tackle characters. And I'll see you then. Bye!